We now come to our keynote address. We are pleased to have Gloria June Simeon Al'apacuuk of Bethel share her thoughts.
So, Guyana Dailuchi, Huinga Al'apacuuk Jalislu Jaingak, Jabayum Banya, Duchkak Jalislu Pelagia Tangmia Kaufman, Dutagaluk, Mamklislu Hiu Rugma. Welcome and thank you. My name is Gloria Simeon. I am the daughter of Anita Gertz and the granddaughter of the late Chief Eddie Hoffman and his wife, Pelagia Tangmiak. I am from the village, the native village of Bethel. And I wish to thank the faculty and the staff of the University of Alaska Fairbanks for this opportunity to speak. And congratulations to the graduates of 2021. I am a proud Native woman speaking before you today. I stand on the land of my ancestors in humble gratitude for the gifts I've been given. There was a moment in my life when one decision made a difference to where my path was to lead me. That day was November 9th, 2007. Leading up to this moment, during the early years of this century, I had been participating in plant identification sessions that the Kuskokwim campus had been hosting with elders from throughout the region. This was to gather and preserve the knowledge our elders had of medicinal, food, and other ways that plants have been used traditionally by our people. My contribution was the knowledge I had about using and processing known medicinal plants into products with healing properties. The seeds of this knowledge were planted in me at an early age. It was at these gatherings that were the beginning of the University of Alaska Fairbanks Ethnobotany Certificate Program. The Kuskokwim campus was the home of the partnership with the University of Hawaii. Ethnobotany is the study of the relationship between people and plants, specifically in the areas of plants as food, medicine, and other ways that we use them. My grandma, Auntie Mary Samuelson, the oldest sister of my grandfather, raised my mother from an early age. She and Datu lived a subsistence life. It was from her example I learned that some of our plants were food and medicine and some were poison. Jaisluk and Ayuk were the main healing plants that I knew from early on. A potion of Jaisluk tea was a staple in my home as a prevention against respiratory ailments for my son. In the early 1990s, an opportunity presented itself to me to find a non-toxic replacement for what was being used to treat my niece Katie May's terrible diaper rash. The result was an ointment using the essence of Jaisluk, Artemisia talisi. Jaisluk has always been a staple of healing in our communities and in our homes. Now back to the fall of 2007, I found myself dreading the onset of dark time. I don't do well during long periods of dark for months. I prayed hard for something, basically anything to put passion in my life. I put no conditions on that prayer that was born of desperation. But when Mary Pete and Rosemeyer approached me with their proposal at a USDA grantee meeting that we were attending in Dillingham, my first response to their offer was no. No, I could not possibly leave home for 5 months to study plants in Hawaii. No, for so many reasons. They kindly gave me that night to consider. Later on that evening, it came upon me that who was I to question how my prayer was answered. This was a gift, a rare opportunity to to expand the depth and the breadth of the innate knowledge I already had about our traditional plants and their uses as medicine. This was truly a gift where I could explore the science of how this all works. This epiphany gave me the courage to strive for something greater, something I never thought would be within my grasp: science. I really and truly thought I was going to be walking through the jungle looking at pretty flowers and plants for 5 months. I know there was great mirth in the universe when I met Dr. Ingelia White and found out exactly what plans she had for me, her student from Alaska. 16 credits of intense microbiology-related classes as well as her lab assistant. This was for someone who managed to graduate high school without taking any science classes. All I knew about a lab was how it looked. I was in a foreign land with a foreign language and totally alone for the first time in my life. The germs I knew as bacteria and virus now had names, everyone with its own name. And the plants, holy cow, not only did every part of them have a name, but every different thing about that part had a name too. Then the plants themselves, each one of them and their cousins, have all these fancy names. How was a person to remember all of this? There were days, many, many days that I wept, I prayed. Throughout it all, I studied, I read, studied and did, researched, whatever it took. One day, as Dr. White's lab assistant, I was alone in the lab making cultures of these very scary bacteria. I managed to splatter a couple of drops of the pneumococcus bacillus on my wrist. I knew fear. No one was there. With my heart pounding in my chest and trying desperately not to shake, I completed the precise steps needed to follow to finish. I went to the wash station and I soaped and rinsed and soaped and rinsed. I just knew I was going to die and was too embarrassed to go to Dr. White and tell her what happened. She had already told me that I made her nervous because she could feel my anxiety in the lab. I told her I was nervous too. And the why of this was because it was all new to me. I didn't die, and that was just the start of this adventure. I can honestly say that those 5 months in Hawaii, I did not get a suntan. Over lunch one day after my return, I asked Mary Pete why she chose me. Her response was that they knew I was the only one who could succeed. Guyana Mary. I know it was 14 years coming, and it was a source of frustration for her that her student hadn't graduated yet. I tried to explain to her that life just kept happening. I took the required courses when I could fit them in my life. I re-entered the EBOT program twice and was fortunate that I was welcomed. One of the classes, the last classes I needed to achieve the certificate in Ethnobotany, was an orchid class that Dr. Ingelia White taught on Windward campus. The fall of 2016 found me traveling again to Aloha Land to take this required class. Now I thought this was the one, the walking through the jungle looking at pretty flowers class. Right? Nope. This was deeper science, genetics and formulas, orchid cultures, meiosis and mitosis. I felt like Galileo discovering a new universe when it finally clicked with me, the sequence of cell reproduction. And then I come home and find out my grandchildren already knew this. I've met so many wonderful and kind people who reached out to help me to get to this day. I am forever grateful. Dr. White, remains a legend in my home. With that said, I want to share some of the lessons I've learned. As a child, especially us little girls, we were given cups or small containers when we were out berry picking. Those ladies, in their wisdom born of ages, knew it would have been too much to hand us a grandma or mom-sized container for picking and expect us to feel enthusiastic about ever filling it. The small containers in small hands was manageable. And once the bottom was covered, it just seems to fill up faster. I personally found that working to obtain my BA in Rural Development, then on to this Ethnobotany certificate, was such that I needed to use that little cup until it became less overwhelming. There were certainly times that it was all I could do to pick that berry, put it in my bucket, take the next step, and pick the next berry. Times I couldn't even look up because I would have given up for sure if I knew how far ahead away I was from that, how far ahead that prize was, and how far away I was that would bring me to that next level. It takes time and perseverance to obtain the reward of a gudak for life in that bucket of credits that never ages out. I lost count of those dreaded incompletes. I had to fix those by taking one class, especially 3 times. Believe in yourself. The universe will show you the way, and the choice is yours. My life is guided by the divine, a presence I feel that lets me know when I'm doing the right thing and on the right path. I have learned that this presence is intelligent and beyond any measure of my comprehension, which is all too human. Our Creator's ability to create universes within universes within universes is so profound and incomprehensible, and designed and planned so unfathomably, imperfectly perfect. Microbes, those unseen molecular beings that make and shape us, are always adapting to survive. It would serve us to come back to the place where these symbiotic, codependent relationships are honored and respected for the survival of life as we know it. All life is connected and dependent. Programs such as Ethnobotany are desperately needed for times such as these. We need to be reminded. I truly believe that unresolved past trauma revisits successive generations tenfold. In my life, I have chosen to break this cycle, and I have been rewarded in my journey of healing by gaining the gift of knowledge of the ways and nature of plants. The teacher has always appeared when I've been ready to move up to the next level. It takes incredible strength and courage to break those negative habits and cycles that bind us. Become all you are meant to be. Conversely, simple acts of kindness resonate and reverberate throughout the universe in positivity and with love. Always take the time to reach out to someone. You never know if they are your angel or if you're going to be theirs. Each day brings us with choices to make. Choices to do little and big things that make a difference. Be aware and always be open for those opportunities to move up to the next level and bring someone with you. Find ways to give back and to do more good. In closing, to strong, resilient Native people, may we know them, may we be them, may we raise them. Kuyanakfa, Professors Doctors Lisa Stryker and Ingalia White, the teachers who appeared when this student was ready, and to my family who has always believed in me and what I do. Kuya.